You know those moments when anxiety hits and your brain feels like it's on fire? You can't think straight, your heart's racing, and every spiritual tool you thought you mastered just vanishes. Well, today I want to show you 3 weird anxiety hacks that actually work. They look strange, you probably have not heard of them before, you might even laugh at yourself, but they speak directly to your nervous system, not your mind. Because oftentimes healing isn't about thinking your way through it. In fact, it almost never is, not until your nervous system feels safe. It's about moving energy, physically, spiritually, somatically, so your system remembers that it's safe. Let's start with the simplest and honestly the funniest one. But before we do, hi, I'm Amy Rose White. I'm a psychotherapist in private practice. My channel is all about teaching people psycho-spiritual self-healing tools. So the first technique is blowing up a balloon. When you feel overwhelmed, anxious, agitated, and especially the sooner you can recognize that those sensations are starting to happen in your body, grab a balloon. If you're not a parent, you might have to go to the store for this, but if you have kids, chances are high that somewhere in your house you have a balloon sitting around somewhere. And then take a slow, deep breath and blow. So that's it. Now here's why that works and what's really happening. When you exhale into a balloon, you're creating long, slow, intentional exhalations, the exact kind that activates the biggest nerve that runs from your brainstem down through the back of your chest, spine, and behind your gut, called the vagus nerve. And it's the main highway for signaling calm in your body. But it's more than just the physiology. There's something really deeply symbolic when you blow into that balloon. Imagine transferring all of your anxiety out of your body. Every exhale then is a release of control, a release of pressure, and a release of stored fear. And then you hold the balloon and you feel that tension is contained in something outside of you. You've literally given form to your overwhelm, and we call that externalization in mental health. When you let it go, it's playful, it's physical, and it's childlike. That play energy is the opposite of anxiety. It reminds your nervous system, hey, we're safe enough to be silly again. So next time your thoughts are racing, blow up a balloon. Seriously, it's bizarre, it's beautiful, and it works. Okay, number 2. Next one is even weirder. It's crawling on the floor. Yes, I mean actually getting down on all fours. And before you skip this one, hear me out. Crawling connects you with your most primal, grounded self. And there's a reason why in infant development, crawling is so important. It's so important that babies crawl before they scoot or pull themselves up or walk. And I will tell you, I actually did not crawl as a baby, and I had to relearn some of that nervous system integration. And it's very, been a big part of my healing to actually get movement like crawling back in my brain, because it patterns your body from fight or flight into rest and root. So think about it this way. When you're anxious, meaning that your body is perceiving danger, and therefore your energy rises up, your thoughts go up into the mind. They spiral. Your shoulders rise. Your breath tenses. Your air goes high into the chest and becomes shallow when you're breathing. Everything starts getting placed in the mind, up, up, up. And crawling reverses that. It literally brings your energy down toward the earth. You're supporting yourself with your hands and knees like you did as a child before your nervous system learned adult fear. Hopefully. Not all of us, had pleasant experiences as an infant, but when we do this as an adult, it's a reminder to your body that you survived and you can move. You are safe. And from a psycho-spiritual lens, crawling also reawakens what I call earth consciousness, that instinctual wisdom of the body that our modern minds often are overriding. And when you press your palms into the floor and feel your weight supported, your system starts to regulate. You're literally being held by the presence of gravity in the form of the floor, and you're being held by the earth herself. When you feel that tile or the carpet, you are back in the present moment. So try it for 1 or 2 minutes. That may seem like a long time, but trust me, it matters to give it a little bit of time and move slowly. Feel that pressure shift through your limbs. Notice how your breath naturally deepens as you're returning home, not just to calm, but to present moment awareness. And the other magical part of this is that when you crawl, you are bilaterally stimulating the brain, meaning both right and left hemispheres are forced to speak to each other because you're engaging both sides of the brain and often crossing the midline like this. So in addition to changing it up and doing something kind of silly, which often is very helpful for moving the needle of anxiety, because the brain has gotten stuck in past fear or future fear, which it can't control, you're literally overriding that fear center in your brain that prevents those two hemispheres from speaking to one another so that you can think about the present moment of safety. And that's what's required for feeling safe. It's all brainstem when we're anxious. It's all lizard brain. But when we crawl, we get that prefrontal cortex back online. We get that wizard brain back in charge. All right, last one, barefoot counting. This one is my personal favorite. So you take off your shoes and step outside if you can, or just in a different environment than you were before. Place your bare feet on the ground. Grass, dirt, sand, even a wooden floor will do. And then you have two choices. You can start walking slowly and with each step count out loud. 1, 2, 3. It's not about the numbers. It's about rhythm and connection. Counting keeps your mind engaged, just enough to interrupt looping thoughts while your feet are grounding you through sensation. If you don't have somewhere where you can actually walk, or it's going to be too obvious to count out loud, try to put your bare feet on the ground outside if you can. And if there's snow outside, which is often the case where I live, just do it briefly so you're not giving yourself frostbite or hurting yourself in any way. But long enough that you feel something different sensorially. And then just count something you can see, a detail in your environment. So maybe you put your feet on the cold deck outside your porch in the backyard, and then you find a detail in your environment, like the needles on a pine tree or the cracks in the sidewalk, and you just slowly count those one at a time. In spiritual terms, this is an act of body awareness. You're reconnecting to something greater than you, because you're not escaping your anxiety, you're giving it a container. You're saying, I can be here in this body, in this moment. After a few minutes, you'll notice something subtle. Your thoughts slow down to match your footsteps, or you're counting, or your breath finds a steady pace, and that restless, disembodied energy starts to settle, as if you're so finally caught up with your body that there's nothing else to focus on and be aware of. That is the beauty of barefoot counting. It's really kind of a meditation in motion, and it's somatic mindfulness, and there's no license required. So to recap, blow up a balloon to exhale the energy of anxiety, crawl on the floor to reconnect with primal safety, walk barefoot and count to anchor your spirit in the presence. None of these requires perfection, performance, or even belief. They just ask you to be in your body again, because healing is often not quiet or mystical. It's often messy, and it can be playful and a little bit weird and silly, but that is the magic of deep soulful healing in my book. So when you let your body lead, your spirit follows that eternal essence of who you really are. So I invite you to try one of these today and watch how quickly the energy shifts, not because you forced calm, but because you remembered what calm feels like. These practices invite us into different ways of relating to fear, which is really what anxiety is. And long before we're able to grasp what we're thinking when we're in an anxious or fearful state, we can invite the body into movement, and then the mind settles and calms as it follows that movement. Just give it a try and let me know how it goes for you. I'm curious, are there any other somatic practices that you use that help you ground, come back to the present, get that wizard brain back online? Are there other playful, fun, childlike ways that you've found to manage fear and anxiety? Please let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear them. Thank you so much for liking, for sharing, and for subscribing to my channel. I truly, truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And until next time, may you be at peace. May you be safe. may be healthy, and may be well. Bye for now.